Here.
I'm here. Shannon, no. Steve,
Here.
Dick,
Here.
Denny,
He's going to be called.
okay. George,
Here.
Monica,
Here.
Claire,
Here.
Tammy,
Here.
Debbie's not, Barb,
Here.
Sue Downs,
Here.
and John West is still recuperating. Okay. So there are 1, 2. I count only 3 gone, so if Denny shows up, we should have 12.
Yeah, we have 11 in person and 4 currently not here.
Yeah,
I guess Danny didn't want to be called until discussion because he's at work till
Oh.
there's a vote.
okay.
Okay, so this is we are resuming our Board of Directors meeting, which was scheduled for Monday, October 18th. And I believe I know we all received the budget notes attached, the 3 proposals for our 2022 budget. Option 1 was income funding using $30,000 from the operating surplus, and quarterly fees increased by a prorated of, it says 20 per month or $60 per quarter, because the rest of them are based on quarters.
Mhm.
Option 2 is income funding includes only using a special assessment of $300 per unit and no operating surplus. Quarterly fees decreased by a prorated $4.50 per quarter. Excuse me. Option 3, income funding includes a prorated $20 per quarter increase using $30,000 of operating surplus funds and a $200 special unit funds and a $200 per unit special assessment. This option would increase income by $27,316. The $27,316 would be added to the building account number 8006, general repairs and electric, to offset ground strap replacement costs not currently funded. Special assessment unit prorated splits proration of a $200 and $300 special assessment. And attached you have the options, which are laid out for you and divided out. Are there any questions on these 3 from the board as given to you by our manager, John? Anything that you don't understand that you'd like to have clarified?
Chris, would
Okay.
you keep those notes up on the screen?
Yes. They went somewhere.
Yeah, they were ahead of it. There they
There
are.
they go.
There they are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, good. So once again, those are the 3 options, option 1, option 2, and option 3. Are
Okay,
there any
I do
questions?
have a question
Okay,
on both of the 2 options with a special assessment. Would those be able to be paid, let's say, in a 4 payment option?
yes, and John, please come in. I think that's,
Yeah, that is, again, it's up to the board. You can have it due in 30 days. You can have it due in 2 payments, or you could spread it out over 4 payments with the regular quarterly dues. Yes, you could you have the right to move it to any way you want.
Okay.
I have a question.
yes, Barb.
On option 3, how are we paying for the ground strap replacement costs now?
It's not in the budget.
It would come out of existing surpluses, or we would overrun this budget, to say it a different way.
We have those funds in there, don't we, John, somewhere?
No, not
No.
for this particular exercise. I mean, you have funds, just like when the insurance bill came in $35,000 higher, we had it in the fund because it was collected previously. This is kind of a new thing. And there's no fund for it other than the fact you have surplus funds you would take it out of. This would temporarily lower the surplus funds possibly below the $100,000 ceiling or floor rather, which I think probably it will be made up at the last 3 months of the quarter, but it'll be close because don't forget, what I gave you last Monday showed about $124,000 in surplus, and you're planning to this budget to take 30. So this thing could dip down in the high 80s for a while.
That's in the other one. If we do option 3, we don't have to worry about that. We'd put the extra money into the straps. Any other questions?
Do that, but you're just as well off.
I have a comment.
Yes, George.
I don't remember discussing setting up a fund for the ground.
Just leave your stuff.
I don't know, this all of a sudden turned up on this budget notes. I mean,
No problem.
we haven't determined whether or not, and the building committee hasn't determined whether or not we need to have such a fund. It might be a good idea, but this is being sprung on us at the last day. I mean,
George, if I may.
It wasn't discussed at the workshop. It wasn't discussed at the board meeting. And now we're discussing it now.
Can I redress that, please?
Yes.
George, that's a function of when we put all the figures together, we found that option 3 brought in an additional dollars, which was quote unquote, not understood until we actually put the figures together. And that extra money would be designated toward that into the building that is dramatically over budget for the year because of everything that's gone on.
Right.
So
But
that we didn't know it when we were discussing it. We had no idea. I put the pencil to it yesterday and found the extra money by using what we did.
okay. But I'm just saying, we haven't voted on that or anything. All of a sudden, we're going to create this extra money. I mean, we're going to take $30,000 of surplus and put 27,000 back. I don't know why we're doing the special assessment at all.
Stop, Max.
Yes,
I-
Dick.
My question would be, if we use the assessment, 200,000 or 300,000, how does that help us
That's
next
not
year
an assessment.
when we come to the budget? In other words, if we have a special assessment now, 200,000, next year, we're going to be 200,000 short unless we have another 200,000.
We don't have 200,000, Dick.
Well,
That's $200.
Isn't that one of the proposals here?
No.
$200 a unit, which
Yeah,
generates 111,600.
Yeah, I misspoke. I meant the $200. If you have a $200 assessment now per unit, come next budget time next year, aren't we going to be short that $200 per unit anyway? I don't see what the is at this point.
Unless you have another assessment.
Yes, that's right, that's right.
So all we're doing is pushing it down the road.
Exactly.
Process.
Right.
Okay.
I don't understand that,
I
John.
don't
How are
either.
we pushing it down the road?
All right, may I say something again? I don't mean to interrupt anybody. I'll try to keep it limited. Aside from this ground strap fund, I'm opposed to using an assessment in order to artificially reduce our actual costs. Now, this was the original intent that you spoke of when you said that we need an assessment because we don't want prospective buyers to think that our maintenance fees were that high, although they're low compared to other.
What's going on? Right here. Hallelujah.
So, I don't think we should be using assessments that way. I think if we had a big problem with ground straps this year and 15 of them went or something like that, then I would say, yeah, we're going to use the reserves or whatever we need to fix that. And then you say, look, because of this emergency, we're gonna apply an assessment. We're gonna ask for an assessment, a special assessment at that time. Not to artificially reduce our financial obligation as.
I don't,
Comments,
don't-
Claire?
I don't think that the assessment is being used to artificially reduce our maintenance fees. I think it's to build a cushion for next year where we're gonna be behind the 8 ball if
Yeah,
we get another huge increase in insurance.
7,000 to take care of.
I,
No, it doesn't.
No, that's not what Sue said when she proposed it.
I said numerous things. It wasn't just one thing when I made my presentation.
An increase of $10 a quarter instead of $60 a quarter,
Yeah,
$70 a quarter.
yeah. I did say that.
So no, well, first you were a $300 assessment and a $20 increase. So that would have been $95 a quarter instead of $60 a quarter. Now you're asking for $70 a
I
quarter,
did say that.
$60 a quarter.
She brought up 300 as well. It's 200.
Aside from what we charge for the quarterly increase in our obligation, I don't think it's hidden in some kind of special assessment to
Calling back, I'm on a Zoom meeting.
reduce the maintenance fee. I think a special assessment should remain special.
Right. Because
Well, wouldn't it if,
for every year.
I'm totally.
Budget committee said to begin with.
Yeah, those are operating expenses. They occur every year that we got under budget.
If I may, Tom is right, I mean, not Tom, excuse me, Steve has raised his hand, not see him. Did you raise your?
No, I just,
Oh, okay.
the two, number 2 and number 3 just don't do anything for next year, for 2023. So we're gonna be looking at this, doing the same thing next year at the same time as we are right now, either with an assessment or another regular maintenance fee increase.
I agree.
Thank you. So does our budget committee chair.
Yes.
Or X.
Any other comments?
Post facto.
Yes, Roger?
I'll just say, I hadn't thought about this the way George just discussed it, but in a sense, he's correct. We're taking money out of the surplus and turning around and putting money back into the surplus. That does seem to be redundant.
Yes, totally agree.
Question?
Barb?
On option number 1, the 60, raising the fee is $60 a quarter. Does that just cover the cable and the insurance? Or
Yes.
does that help to cover the new thing that came up? Well, not new, the ground strap replacements.
No, it only covers the insurance and the cable. Is that correct, John?
No,
It covers nothing for next year.
no, yes, no, that's almost correct.
What
you're-
else does it cover?
Last year, you took $70,000 from the surplus. This year, you're only projecting to take 30,000.
30.
So 40,000 of the increase is coming because we didn't have the funds that we had last year. So that there are 3 things that are driving this increase. The less revenue by 40,000 because there's less surplus money. Number 2, the insurance increase. And number 3, the cable increase. All other expenses are slightly under last year's budget.
So the only thing it's covering, option 1, would be the insurance and the cable, correct?
No.
But it covers insurance for 2 years because
Well,
that's,
yeah.
we won't have to have a massive increase next year. Even if this is figuring the increase we anticipate in 2022, and it includes the anticipation cost with maybe a 10% increase in 2023.
And doesn't option 3 also do the same thing, John?
No.
No, it does not.
No,
It does not cover the increase for year 2022?
No, because any additional revenue earned there, Sue, is really going toward the ground straps.
Yeah, that's only 44,000.
Now, it might be a good idea to investigate this ground strap thing, the same thing we did with the stacked pipes and the same thing we're doing with the upper landings. But this should be decided by the building committee. We should ask the building committee to look into it. They come back to us and make a proposal. And then we say, well, look, we need to budget more money or ask for an emergency assessment or something like that. And then bring it back to the budget committee and let them develop a plan. And then we vote on that. We were supposed to vote on a budget on Monday. And I've never seen, I've gone to almost every committee, every board meeting for the last 8 years, anyone that I could make. And I've never seen a postponement or an extension or a continuation, it's being called. We had a job to pass a budget that we asked the budget committee to submit, which they did. And we went and did this now. And I'm not comfortable and having a special assessment to artificially reduce what we actually have to pay. Because next year, we're gonna have to either pay a lot more or do another assessment.
The same thing. Yeah, I agree.
What tangle webs we weave.
Right.
If I may say one thing, George, you're correct in the fact that next year, we will look at this issue for ground straps, and I think what I will recommend is starting up a reserve for it in the future, where we'll get a little bit each year. But since the reserves have been set and all the expenses were set, that's why all this kind of happened.
I think all the ground straps need to be replaced eventually. They're not gonna get younger, they're gonna break. And we don't wanna wait till we lose our air conditioning and refrigeration. We may not be home when this happens.
I agree.
So we should have some kind of program, but it shouldn't have been decided within the last day.
So can I ask a question?
Barb,
So
go ahead.
is the budget committee recommending option 1?
Yes.
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 Okay. And the fact that the ground straps were already behind the 8 ball on the ground straps, how are they proposing to cover that? I don't know if, John, you answered this already, but is that going to eat up the surplus? or-
That is,
We're not
yeah,
aware.
whatever it's gonna be, whether it's gonna be 8 or 18,000, and we don't know. It probably will be closer to 8 to 11,000. It'll have to come out of the surplus operating. That's correct.
Okay, is that because the budget committee missed budgeting it
We never
as
knew
part
about
of
it.
this?
Well, you know what? No, I'll tell you what. We've been putting 50 to 55,000, I'm saying $30 to $35,000 a year into the budget for the buildings committee. It has been ample and would have been ample if we didn't run into atypical things like losing all the power to pool 7. And that cost us almost $9,000. Really, the 30 to 32,000 that we had in the budget should have taken care of it on past history, but we got like the perfect storm.
But the budget committee wasn't blind to these facts when they proposed this budget.
Correct. Now, the budget committee had an understanding that this year's building expenses were going to be over. But they also anticipated that this year's building expenses is to be very atypical. I mean, you know, we're looking at 3 budgets. We could really say, okay, like who said it before, George or Dick or even Sue, maybe. Maybe to take care of the whole thing is you take option 1 and instead of 60, make it 68 or 70 a quarter, and then everything's covered for next year. But as Sue says, sometime there'd be expenses this year that won't be next year, and you're taking too much because it stays in. I mean, it's a philosophical discussion. Everybody's really on the same page, agreeing that we should pay our bills and we shouldn't live hand to mouth, and you haven't here for a long, long time. So it's not the expense side, it's how we're funding it that's the debate.
And, okay, I'm going to speak for those who are living on very tight fixed incomes. You're just saying, oh, let's make it $68 or $70 a quarter. Some people are living social security check to social security check, and they have everything carefully budgeted. And so to just wildly throw out a number and like, it's okay for everybody, it's not. I think we have to think about everybody in this community, not just those with deep pockets, that this will not hurt.
The lowest output is the first one. The other one is gonna be, you know, you're gonna have surplus for number 3. And you're reducing the fees on number 2.
You know, part of the reason that we're in this problem now, and this may not be popular, but we have not had any increases of any consequence in the last few years because we have drawn money from the surplus fund. And last year we withdrew 70,000. I don't know what we withdrew the previous year, but it's come back to the point now where we really, in my judgment, need to be paying the budget, paying what our budget calls for, not having an assessment that next year is going to come back to haunt us again. And then we're going to have to take 40 or 50 or 60,000 out of a surplus budget, which is going to be gone.
If you have,
I do not like the concept of assessments. Whenever you talk to anybody, it gives the impression that you have fiscal problems with your management of your dollars. I firmly feel that that's not a good position for our association.
I agree, totally agree.
Okay, so can I say, I think are there any other discussion? Are we ready to take a vote? Yes.
Whoa.
Excuse me. I'm asking members of the board, do you have any more discussion? Are we ready to take a vote? Yes, Claire.
I just, personally, I don't think that we should even consider reducing our quarterly maintenance fees. I mean, not where we're sitting now, even if it's only $4 or $5.
It's ridiculous.
I think that's nuts.
Okay. Monica?
I talk to people who are on fixed incomes, and I'm one of them, and I'm by myself with a fixed income. And I would prefer that I know a year in advance what my dues are every quarter, so I can budget for it.
Okay.
Or maybe pay a little bit less for my Starbucks coffees. How's that?
Okay, so are we ready, members of the board, to take a vote on
Yes.
these 3 options?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. All right, so I'm going to ask you this time, if you mind doing it this way with Pam running it and simply voting, and an open vote, Pam will call your name and you vote either option 1, option 2, or option 3. And whichever has the most votes, that's the way we go. Is that okay with members of the board?
Sure.
Sounds like the easiest way to do it for me.
Everybody else agree? Anybody object? All right, Pam, but do you want to call
Yeah.
Dennis?
Yeah, let me call Dennis.
Okay, and in the meantime, Pam, you want to start the vote? Remember, all you have to tell Pam is when you're called, option 1, option 2, or option 3.
All right, Cookie Finch,
Option 3.
Roger Schultz,
Option 1,
I'm choosing option 3.
Who's that?
Me, the one taking the vote.
I'm sorry, I'm dialing. So go ahead, Pam, you take it
You
now.
Okay. Steve Abul,
1,
Dick Picola.
1,
I'll come back to Denny. George,
1,
Monica,
1.
Claire,
3,
Tammy,
1,
Barb,
1,
Sue Downs,
3,
Hi, Dennis, John Haggerty, just trying to reach you for a vote. Sorry we missed you. You can call me back.
all right. It's okay.
941-518-5778. Denny's not reachable.
It's irrelevant because number 1 won.
Great.
And
Very
Denny's vote won't make a
Would not
difference.
change it. Okay, so the vote today is number one, the income funding includes only a $30,000 from the operating surplus and a quarterly fees increase, prorated $60 per quarter.
Nice job.
So with that in mind, that should close this meeting. And,
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
pardon me. So now do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion?
Is there,
Okay,
can there be discussion for something else?
Better do
actually,
it, better do it before we,
yeah,
I just wanted to do a follow-up with Tiffany and the John and Sue and who's ever in charge of the building committee, I guess, right now, to just go over, she's had her stoop, her landing painted.
yes.
And so there's just a couple of things that maybe before they proceed to going ahead and painting other units that we look at to make sure this is what we want to go through. Like, look at the results of it, because there's still a puddling. I went over to see it this morning. I was in the beginning a little concerned about the gray color, but it's actually not so bad. But it's really, the traction is great. I think it's great, but it's still causing puddling. And while there are drains that go off the sides of the landing, they don't seem to be draining the puddling going on. And I don't know, John, if you had thoughts on how that can be addressed. The second thing, other than the puddling, is some of the units have the vinyl curling over the top step.
tell him it's too late. It doesn't matter his vote.
And they,
I can address this, that if you were to go to 141 upstairs slabs and put a hose on it, you'll probably get puddling on 80% of them. They tried to reduce it when they fix it by doing some of the pitch, but there'll always be some puddling. There just will be. There just is. There always has been. The only leaving of them is sometimes people have put tile and erased it, but that's the only thing. The puddling is going to continue. And most people I've talked to take a broom and go swish, swish, and it's gone.
Hey, good idea.
Yeah.
It's my second vehicle.
okay.
I have a downstairs unit with a concrete sidewalk, and every time it rains, I have a puddle. And I just sweep it off and it's dry in about 3 minutes in the sun.
The other thing is the Tiffany's unit and one other unit, the vinyl was cut away from the top step, so it looks nice and flush. And there's no bubbling up of that any vinyl now, because it doesn't curl over the first step. But there are many other units that still have that vinyl curling over the top step. That's pushing up. Is that going to be addressed as well to make that more? It's not
Barbara,
always.
other than the 4 people in Woodlawn, no one has complained about that. And since we were going to go paint the other 3, we were going to cut those 2, but no one else it's not an issue with anybody else for some reason. I don't know why, it just isn't.
Right.
But we will do that when we paint the other 3, yes.
Okay, well, the reason why where the issue is only coming up during these board meetings and in Tiffany's emails. And so maybe all the other people who have had it done don't even realize that many other people are having the issue as well. And they might be, and there is a solution if they want it.
All I can say is if somebody's got an issue, we'll certainly deal with it. You get in my report each month that we handle between 200 and 300 repair and or requests monthly. And I really feel if other people had problems with this, they would let us know. We had a problem in Jim Munson's and EJ Johnson's where some of the glue snapped up. So they let us know and we fixed it. So, I mean, if people call in, we'll deal with it.
Do a work order online.
Yeah. So, yes, I mean, hey, my job here is to make everything as possibly good as possible. And when we, if we find an issue, we'll deal with it, no doubt about it.
No, John, I think you do a great job. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not
Just-
saying it for that. I'm
Yeah.
not saying for that. Thank you. But I mean, really, right now, we're not getting those issues. We did have other issues, like I said, with the glue bubbling up in Springdale. And we were able to resolve that too. So if it comes, I'm sure we'll do it. But I really look forward not to using that vinyl anymore. That's the good news. And reducing the costs and getting these done quicker. That's the good news. I mean, possibly we should not have put the vinyl down. It looked like the best thing at the time, and that's what everybody recommended. But in actual use, it hasn't worked out as well as we thought.
Okay.
Any other discussions, Roger?
We still
Sue?
have 100,
Yes.
we still have 109 of them to do. And so just like we had problems with some of the sap pipes in the beginning, we learned as we went and it worked out okay.
Claire?
Sue? Yeah, we need a motion to approve the mailing of the budget, the proposed budget to the owners. So the budget can be discussed at the November meeting.
Okay, excuse me. Do I have a motion to approve the mailing of the budget to the owners?
I so move.
And I have a second?
Second,
I'll do that. Dick
Second.
Nicola.
Okay, Dick Vacola, second. Any discussion? Okay, all opposed, raise your hand. Nobody's opposed. So moved. It will be mailed out to the owners in November.
No, it's
Okay,
gotta be before then. so it
Before
can be
then.
discussed.
when does that go out, John?
That goes out as quickly as we can put everything together so the statute calls for 2 weeks before your next meeting. I would like to get it out certainly next week, which gives us much more time for the people to see it.
Okay, Roger, did you have your hand up about something?
yeah, I just wanted to respond to Barb. Barb, I spoke with, there's 6 upstairs units in cluster B. 5 have people living there right now. The other one is empty, or it's a rental and it's empty. I've spoken to all 5 of them, and all of them indicated, yeah, they have some puddling, but nobody indicated there's any severe slipperiness. I told each one of them, if they thought there was, to contact the office.
No, it's great.
Yes, Monica.
John, if you need any help with the budget paperwork, to put it together, collate it, distribute it, I will be more than glad to offer a couple hours of my services.
Monica, thank you. Each year we have these, either the annual meeting notice or the budget meeting notice. Some of you residents have come in and helped, and it's been a great asset to do that. Thank you.
Okay, anything else we need to bring up? Because we already have pardon me?
So I wasn't at the meeting Monday. When is the workshop and the next monthly meeting dates? Do you have those right there?
Second,
No, it's second Tuesday, which is November. I didn't announce that because we ended that, but I can give it to you right now. Let's see, that would be November, the second Tuesday would be the 9th. And then the third Monday would be the 15th.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the 9th is at 9 a.m. I mean, 10 isn't, yeah, 10. And November 15th is at 2 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anything else we need to bring up? We've had the motion on the floor to end the meeting, but was there anything else we needed to bring up?
Nope.
Nope. So we had a motion on the floor. It was seconded. We did have a discussion that we brought up. So all opposed to closing this meeting, raise your hand. Nobody raises their hand. Therefore, the meeting is closed. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for coming in today and continuing this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.